coach is our big interview. It is Trojan Lincoln Riley, who's good enough to join us from L.A. Lincoln, let's look back at last season. What would you say is the biggest thing you learned from last year?
Well, I think you learn a lot every year. I think that's kind of part of your continual growth as a coach, as players, and then certainly part of your growth as a program that we're trying to reestablish and trying to, in some senses, obviously bring back. And so obviously the margins are thin. My experience at different places and being in those situations where you're going to play, those big time games in the second half of the season that a lot's riding on, and you got to be at your very best, and you got to be at your very best on all three sides to take advantage of those opportunities. We've had 2 years where we've put ourselves in a lot of those. We won a few more of them the first year. We lost a couple last year that were really, some heartbreakers, some ones right there at the end that were one play away, and that can be the difference. And so, it's motivated us to continue to build this program, to continue to strengthen our roster. We obviously made a lot of changes on the coaching staff on the defensive side that we're really excited about and looking forward to this new challenge in the Big Ten.
Yeah, you mentioned the change on the defensive side. You brought in a new exciting defensive coordinator who knows how to be good in the city of Los Angeles. What has you feeling most confident about your defense this coming year?
Well, I think the overall collection of the defensive staff, which when we pressed reset here defensively and started looking at different defensive coordinators and position coaches that we would pair together, we shot for the stars. We really did. We're thankful to have a program and an administration here that believed in that vision, and we were able to put together just an outstanding staff. And you can see the development of our players and the confidence that's been developing this spring, which has been really exciting. And then a good mix of some players that have been good players for us that I feel like are developing and have a chance to play some of their best ball here at the end of their careers, along with some new talent that we brought in. And as the games have been played here these first few years, you've got your roster that's playing the majority of the snaps on Saturdays, but there's been a lot of excitement within the program about what's been developing kind of under the surface. And that's, we've had 2 full recruiting classes now, and you can start to feel the depth and the talent that is coming. And the bowl game, was a little bit of a precursor, a little bit of a preview for everybody to see, this roster and kind of what's been working beneath the surface, because those were the majority of the guys that we played with in the win over Louisville, and the reason why there's a lot of optimism here and a lot of excitement about this season and the future.
As we prepare for USC to join the Big Ten and become official in just a handful of months, I want to talk away from football for a second and have you help introduce USC to Big Ten viewers. Tell me about your campus. How do you describe it? What's it like?
It's one of those places that's difficult to describe, honestly. I mean, you feel like you're on a resort. Like it's I've never seen anything like it. It's an incredible campus. And you get to feel right away when you drive in the gates here that you're at one of the most prestigious academic institutions on the planet, and you feel that, and you're just in such a unique setting here that you can go visit 100 other schools, you can go see all kinds of different places, but you probably won't see anything else like this. And so we get that reaction a lot, whether it's a recruit coming in or somebody that hasn't been on our campus before. It's an incredible place. It really is. It's one of one. And I know for all the different people that'll come in from Big Ten country coming in to watch these different games here, I think they'll enjoy being able to come out to LA and experience, USC and this area in general.
Give me your favorite spot to go, whether it's on a walk or a bike ride or to grab a burger or whatever.
Man, I mean, sitting down in the South Bay, whether, Manhattan Beach, Redondo Beach, any of those areas there for me, and watching the sunset over the Pacific Ocean is pretty tough to beat, man. It's a surreal place, and there's so many other things to do and see here, but if I had to pick my favorite, that's pretty tough.
Yeah, it's a pretty good thing to sell too. The sunset on Redondo Beach. For those who've only seen the Coliseum on TV but have never been there in person, what's the best part about that building you call home?
I think the combination of, I think one, the history of it, right? We're in an era where there's so many new stadiums and kind of modern stadiums that are popping up that are cool, but they don't have history, you know, and they don't have the same character and feel. And this one is, when you start talking about a place that's hosted 3 Super Bowls, you know, it's getting ready to host its 3rd Olympics. That you've had people like, you know, Martin Luther King, you know, Nelson Mandela, I mean, the Pope, I mean, you know, JFK, I think, accepted a Democratic nomination there. Like, I mean, it's like you walk down those steps, you feel it. I mean, that's you know, you get goosebumps. I mean, it's an incredible place. And you think about all the history and all the things that have happened there. And to think like that's our home is pretty incredible. So it's a unique setting. I think everybody that hasn't been there before, like, it's one of those bucket list places that you have to come watch a college football game at, because I mean, you're seeing a great product on the field, and you're also getting a chance to do it in a really, really special and historic place.
Your school has a new men's basketball coach, Eric Musselman. You met him yet?
We haven't got to meet face to face. We've talked on the phone, had a chance to text a little bit. I know how it is to take the new job, and you know, you're drinking out of a fire hose there for a while. So he's in the middle of it as he's building his roster and his coaching staff. But yeah, I know he brings a ton of energy, a great reputation. We have some mutual friends from the Broyles Award in Arkansas. Some people that are very, very close and dear to me and my family that know him well. So that was a great introduction as well. And yeah, excited to pair up with him. Obviously, you know, that's a major sport here. It's really important. And I know, you know, Coach is going to bring a ton of energy, and look forward to collaborating and working with him.
Speaking, we're here in Chicago, and there's a former quarterback of yours who, let's just say, is likely to be playing for the Chicago Bears in a very short amount of time. He'll be drafted #1. All signs seem to say next Thursday. What is it like for you as a former coach to be in that position where your guy's about to go #1?
Yeah, it's, you know, I never counted until it happens, so I know everybody else is, but it's a great moment, man. I remember the first time it happened, you know, with Baker, and we were all sitting in his, you know, in his living room, and that one was a little bit of a surprise, and so it's a great moment. And I mean, honestly, yeah, I mean, the guy's going #1 overall and all.
What's that like, though, when you're in your old player's living room or you're at the draft with them? Like, what is that feeling like?
Yeah, it's a little surreal in that you really think about, like, the journey, you know, at that point, you know, from, you know, a recruiting conversation when you first meet them, or a, you know, meeting in your office when they come up on that first visit, you know, and it kind of goes full circle. Like, you know, these things of, you know, winning championships in college, or winning a Heisman, or, you know, being an All-American, or going high in the NFL draft, like, those are all dreams that you want to accomplish. And then to come full circle and, like, actually be in that moment, you know, that you talked about is a really, really special thing. You know, I've tried, you know, we've been lucky and we've had a couple. I've tried to definitely never take it for granted, because you know how special it is and how hard it is to do. And, you know, but most of all, you're just happy and appreciative and excited for these guys to get that chance.
We talked a moment ago about your quarterback positions. Give me a position group on your team this spring that has impressed you.
You know, I've been impressed with a lot of them. I mean, I would zero in on our linebackers. You know, been really, really impressed with that group, their consistency of play, their ability to make explosive plays. You know, we brought in Matt Entz from North Dakota State, who was the head coach there, and obviously, you know, won multiple national championships, a fabulous coach, and he's come in and taken over our linebackers, and really feel like he's done a tremendous job with their development. You know, we've got a couple of guys that have been here and on the roster that have played a lot of snaps for us, like a Mason Cobb and like an Eric Gentry, that I feel like are, you know, this spring was probably the best ball that we've seen them play, and we feel like they're climbing. We're really excited about Easton Arnold that came in from Oregon State, who's got a lot of leadership qualities and has played a lot of snaps under his belt. And those three really have played at a high level. And then there's some new exciting young talent in that room that has gotten better. And I feel like they're going to have a chance to really make an impact for this football team that are developing fast as well. So I could certainly single out every group in some way, but the linebackers have been particularly impressive for me this spring.
Well, I think it's interesting. We talked earlier about the importance of defense this year, and you bring up the linebacker crew as the unit that stands out. One of our analysts was telling me yesterday when he's been watching, he likes the DBs. Guys like Ramsey and Covington have really stood out as well. What do you see with them?
Yeah, I think you feel the impact of, having Coach Lynn, and certainly, obviously he's involved in coaching the entire defense, but his specialty and his background exists in the secondary. And then also, Doug Belk. I mean, that's just a great 1-2 punch in terms of coaching and developing our guys there. And similar to linebacker room, I've just seen a lot of guys climb. I see a lot of guys that I feel like are starting to really come into their own as players, combined with some new faces like Kamari Ramsey and Akili Arnold, John Humphrey, DeCarlos Nicholson. I mean, it's a good group. It is. And I think they've really taken to what we're doing schematically. I think they've really taken to what we're teaching from a fundamental standpoint, which both of those are certainly there's some key differences compared to what we were doing before. And yeah, so far a lot of production, and I think a lot of confidence that's being built there. So yeah, I mean, there's not any level of the defense that we're not excited about the progress and excited about the way that those guys are being developed.
Last thing for you here, Lincoln. I know spring games have changed over the years. Your spring game's coming up on Saturday. I'm curious what your goals are. I know number 1 is 0 injuries, but what would be 2 and 3 after that?
Well, it's the first time and really the only time, because we don't have preseason games. We don't have scrimmages like you do in high school. And so, it's really our first and only time with the team to get out in a game setting with people in the stands, with it on TV, all of that, before you actually do it for real. And I think especially some of these freshmen that are in here, these guys that haven't played college football yet, like a chance for them to feel that is really, really important. I think anytime you get in this setting, you want to see guys be able to take what they've learned in the meeting rooms or what they've learned on the practice field, and how can they take it to the game field when you get in that type of setting. And so I think those are our 2 biggest goals. And obviously we got a lot of guys that are excited about it, and yeah, hopefully we have a great day, very productive day. And like you said, keep everybody healthy and get on into summer conditioning.
Lincoln Riley, Trojan head coach. Thanks for your time, man. We appreciate it. Have fun tomorrow.
Will do. Appreciate you.